We had the show last night.
We had our first show last night. So when this comes out, it might be a little delayed, but that's okay. But yeah, we just had our first show of Pizza and Hummus Presents Turkey Roast Battle.
Yeah.
The comedians that came out, I thought they all did an awesome job.
They killed it.
Roasting each other. And the crowd, too, when you have a nice packed room like that, it just makes the comedians better. They want to perform better. The laughs are a lot more contagious.
Yeah.
And it was just a blast.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Our next show is December 14th.
Yep, that's Friday, 9 p.m., December 14th. It's going to be a stand-up showcase.
Yep.
So again, more of the top comedians doing depending 5 to 10 minutes sets. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so look out for that December 14th. And I think that's all of our announcements.
Yeah, that's all the announcements. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Sweet.
This is the Pizza and Hummus Podcast.
So why would you listen to the Pizza and Hummus Podcast?
Am I right, bada bing?
Uh-oh, here we go. Now, here we go. Here we go. Now, here we go.
Oh!
I laughed way too hard at that. That's the worst thing ever.
So my sister got me this mug. And
The coffee table.
this I don't get it. Why is the handle so high up? Is it supposed to be the cattail? It just seems like look at the dynamic of this.
Here, drink it like you would a normal cup with the handle how it is.
It's just like
Your elbow has to be so high. Hello. You might as well just drink it like a cat. I think that's why they did it like that. So you have to like just put your face in and lick it.
maybe you give it to cats, like you hold it down like this, you know.
Right. So
But
you
not
can,
too much.
This is for the cat person who's really committed, who shares their tea
They're
with
committed
their cat.
to the craft.
Right. For those of you listening and not watching, Vince has an above ground swimming pool as a coffee mug.
Hey, it's fancy, okay? He's wearing a bow tie.
It's fancy,
it's
but
a fancy cat.
I'm just concerned of the base, the structural integrity, holding that together. Like, how easy is that to break?
Very easy. That's why it's hand wash only. And what I also noticed too is like there's little like grips at the bottom of these feet. So there's no way that you're like that's gonna wash and it's just gonna stay like that.
No.
So Richie, it's just us two.
Yeah.
Today we are going to be doing Christmas Cranks 3.
Yeah.
In December.
Right.
So everyone look out for that. We're doing Christmas Cranks 3. We're bringing Jared in. The first one we did was back in 2016.
Jeez.
And the first episode that we had Jared on was the only Thanksgiving special that we ever had, the Thanksgiving stuffed special.
Really? Is it really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Because I was looking back and I was like, maybe we should do because we're going to do a Christmas Cranks 3. And I was like, maybe we should do a Thanksgiving stuffed special 3.
Yeah.
And I realized we didn't make a number 2. And then I listened. I was like, oh, how come we didn't make a number 2? And I listened to the first one. I'm like, oh, yeah, we covered it. There's really not that much in Thanksgiving.
Right. That's the thing. I think that's what we even covered in Christmas Crank. I mean, not sorry. In the Thanksgiving episode of it's just Christmas warm up. How much are you going to talk about that? How much are you going to talk about the JV team? We're looking at varsity this year.
Exactly.
That's it. We don't care.
We're going for the big leagues.
Right.
We're going for the year.
Could you
the time
imagine
of year, the best.
What the second episode of the Thanksgiving would be? Just be like stuffing. Yeah. Everyone's like, yep. Yeah. Stuffing. All right.
Yeah. Do you like it? I don't know. That's good. Well,
Football.
here's the thing too: is I realized that Thanksgiving is like the forgotten middle child. Mm-hmm. You know, because then you got like, you got your Halloween,
Right.
fall times, as we talked about in the last episode. You're like, wow, your guys' house is super decorated, super fall times, all that stuff. Great. Mm-hmm. It's not even Thanksgiving yet, and my wife already took down all of the fall decorations.
We're building up for
We're
Christmas.
getting ready for Christmas. We haven't committed to Christmas yet. My brother and stuff, he already got his stuff decorated for Christmas. I'm like, no, I'm not there yet. I want to at least wait until Black Friday.
Yeah.
At least like after Thanksgiving, That's the
Put up
earliest
the
I would
tree.
start.
Yeah, December 1st or whatever it is. Black
Exactly,
Friday,
December 1st. Because that's pretty close, within that range.
The pumpkins are all expired now.
Yeah, they're all expired.
Not even
They're all
ready
rotten.
for Thanksgiving.
All the pumpkins are garbage. And it's like everyone gets super excited for like September. You start a little early, but like October, it's like, oh, fall times.
Yeah.
Go for fall. This is still part of fall. It's not winter until December 21st-ish, roughly around that
I think
area.
it's a little late, at least for Michigan.
It is a little late, yeah. For Michigan, yeah. But now that the snow's done, she's just like, well, what am I going to do with all this fall stuff? I'm like, what? It's not even Thanksgiving yet.
It's fall. Keep it up.
But no one cares.
No.
No one cares. No one cares about Thanksgiving. It's just, well, we got to meet. I think it's a good way to, like, divide it among families. Like, okay, you guys get Christmas, but this side's going to get Thanksgiving because we don't like this.
That's what it is. It's just another way to you. This side gets Christmas, thank God. You were going to throw you guys a bone. We'll come over for Thanksgiving. No one cares.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do anything anyway. You didn't.
It's either turkey over here or turkey over here.
Right.
You watch the game. There's no game on Christmas time, so you just watch it. And
Yeah.
you don't need to talk. So, but yeah, that's the thing though, man. It's no one cares about Thanksgiving, and I was born on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was late November. I keep forgetting that. Okay.
Yep. Late November. I was actually born on Thanksgiving. In like the videos, they did some videos of like the waiting room in the hospital, and all my relatives are all dressed up for Thanksgiving. They're all wearing the Thanksgiving
Like
sweaters,
pilgrims.
all dressed up like pilgrims and Native Americans. It's great. But yeah, and I was like, oh, and I was also born on a Thursday, which is my least favorite day of the week. I don't like Thursdays.
What's wrong with Thursdays? Well,
I don't like Thursdays.
it's false hope that
It's-
the week is over.
Exactly. It's false hope. Now, I did like it in college because that was my, like, I only had classes Monday through Thursday. But no, well, Friday's my favorite. Even if I got to work, go to school, Friday's the best, anticipation. But no, for some reason, Thursdays, I never really liked Thursdays. There's like, like, is this week going to get done? Let's go. Like Wednesday,
How long has this week been happening?
like Monday, you're like, Monday, this is a bummer. But hey, you're starting off the week, starting it fresh. Just had a nice weekend, now we're back to work. Tuesday, you're like, all right. Wednesday, you're like, oh, it's almost done. Thursday, you're like, crap, it's not done yet.
Like, at least Wednesday you can have crappy small talk of like, well, halfway there. And
Yeah.
everyone at the coffee machine's like,
Got a little bit of hope.
Thursday, you can't even say anything. You're like, Thursday you say almost there. Like, what are you, like, traveling across the world? Everyone ran out of shoes, clothes, and food. That's Thursday.
Yeah.
It's be like, we're almost there. She's like, Jesus, relax.
Yeah. Thursday, you're just like talking about Friday, which is like Thanksgiving. You're just talking about Christmas.
Thanksgiving is the Thursday
on
of the-
Thursdays. It's the Thursday of
Holidays.
holidays.
Arbor Day is a little bit above Thanksgiving.
I still don't know.
I don't know what
you brought the Arbor Day bit up a couple times in the show. I still don't know when
I feel like
is
it's just I
and
have no
why.
idea. I couldn't tell you. It's the most. I feel like it's just the most irreverent holiday. I like it.
I mean, it's my family celebrate for 1,500 years.
Yeah, we put up a tree, which
Arbor-
would
the
actually
Arbor
make
tree.
sense for Arbor Day. Is we put up a tree. We don't decorate it. We just planted a tree. That's
plant a
Earth
tree.
Day. See, never mind. I don't know what
Earth
Arbor
Day,
Day
yeah.
is.
I always thought Arbor, like I think of the word harbor, so it's like boats and stuff because I'm dumb. But yeah. So that's why we're not doing a Thanksgiving stuff special
Because it sucks.
because it's what's great about Thanksgiving? Nothing. Put some gravy on it. Maybe it'll be a little better.
Do you want to see if we can talk about like a lighthearted news article or something?
Well, yeah, whatever you want to do, man.
I'm just gonna say news.
Uh-oh.
Whoops. Democrats not backing Nancy Pelosi as speaker as wasting their time. Shoot. Okay. List of missing in California fire is over 1,000 people. Good. Lighthearted.
Literally light.
Saudis deny reported CIA.
Here's something we can talk about.
Oh my
here's
God.
something we can talk
I'm
about.
gonna
So
put something else in.
So you figured, hey, let's look up some lighthearted news. And
Right.
you typed in news.
I typed in news.
and I knew what was gonna happen.
Right.
I knew exactly what was gonna happen. It's like when someone Googles blue waffles for the first time. It's not gonna be good.
You're not looking at the screen. You're looking at their face
yeah.
to see how they react.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not encouraging. I don't encourage that to anyone on who's listening.
Yeah.
Don't Google it. But now you're gonna want to Google it if
See,
you haven't.
It's like telling you not to think
It's-
of a pink elephant.
Don't think of a pink elephant.
Boom.
It's gonna be bad. It's not gonna be what you think it is. It's not gonna be a blue Eggo waffle. So you typed in news and it turned into just toxic, just
Poison.
bad, poison, negative.
You know how hard everyone's thumb hits those hyperlinks that came up?
It's just
Let me
brutal.
read that.
So one thing that I've been doing, and I've been talking to you about this off the air, is I've been trying to keep myself off of social media. as much as I can. Now, I do make posts to promote the podcast. I make posts to promote the show.
It's functional.
It's a function of, hey guys, I know you're all on social media.
Yeah.
Here's, for shows, episodes. There it is. And I've tried to keep my out of anything that would be political, that'd be controversial. I just forget all that.
You go to the pool party, you don't get wet.
Yes.
I needed an analogy. I'm sorry.
There
Keep
you
going.
go. So that's what I've been trying to do. And I even took Jarrett's advice where he was like, I just took social media off my phone. So if I have to go on social media, I have to go on an actual computer.
You have to use a TI-84 calculator.
I gotta use a TI-84 calculator. I gotta put some coal in to power it up. So by the time you do all that, you just don't want to. It's
not worth the effort.
Whereas it's so easy to go on your phone. You're sitting there going through all your stuff. And it's the thing that's been nice about it is I've been trying to, it's like, so what are you going to look up? What are you going to do? Well, I try to find things that maybe better myself, something that I find that's interesting, something that I like to learn more about, a skill, a trade, a hobby, a craft, anything.
Yeah.
Which has been really nice.
Yeah.
And, also we've talked about with bringing in meditations and stuff, just really trying to get myself out of that, because what was happening to me was I'd look on these news things, I'd look on all this stuff, and I would pretty much wake up angry and thinking what do I need to be angry at today?
Right. It's almost like a call to action.
Yes.
Of
because
which thing?
And I realized that a lot of this stuff is stuff that it's all you can do is be angry at. You can't actually physically do something. Well, you can make a post complaining about it. Okay, that's not good. That's you're just adding toxicity to everything else.
You helped who agreed with you, and you hurt who disagreed with you.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're just dividing it. You're just dividing it, and I have views on things just like everyone else has views on things, but I realized that it just wasn't helping me.
Yeah.
It wasn't helping my family. It wasn't helping those around me, and I really didn't even make a lot of controversial posts. I would just read other people's controversial posts or look into their stuff, and all it did was it just made me upset. Just, okay, what do I need to be angry at today? And it seems like, it seems silly to say that, but that's what it was doing, because I'd be like, all right, what's in the news?
Yeah.
And the news is, I don't care what news you look at, they're there to make sure that you keep watching them, you keep listening to them, you keep following them. And the only thing they're going to do with that is they're going to make, they're never going to have a slow day of and in other news, look at this cool squirrel on a jet ski.
Yeah.
That's just not happening.
Yeah.
It's going to be, what do we need to be mad at today? Because if you're mad and you feel like you're out of control, your solution is going to be, I got to keep watching.
Yeah.
I got to stay informed. I got to be ready for the defense. I got to be ready for all this stuff.
You're having fake arguments in your own head.
Oh my gosh, the amount of fake arguments I have
that
in
you
my head.
won and lost. You know what sucks about my dreams? So in my head, like everyone else, you have fake arguments preparing for nothing, and I win those in my head usually. When I dream, my subconscious is a jerk. When I dream, I lose all of them.
Yep.
If it's a physical fight in my dream, I lose. If it's an argument, lose.
Yeah.
My brain, when it's asleep, wants me to not feel good.
Yeah, they just want to tear you down. They go, we got you in the sleeper hold.
Literally have me in the sleeper hold.
Here's the girl that you used to like in junior high that's like, Richie, you're dumb. I'm like, no, but I'm not dumb anymore. I'm an adult.
And then you fall down a hole and you're late for class. And then
you're late for class. You don't have your pants. And it's the worst.
No, with the thing, I mean, even back to scrolling, I feel like, I don't know if any of this is cliche. I'm sure it all is. But even scrolling and you're literally, it's like the equivalent of eavesdropping on other people's thoughts. Yeah. Which, if you watch...
Which sounds kind of cool, but I know what you mean.
If you've seen the old Twilight Zone episode, I think there's one on... Someone gets... Ooh, you get the power to hear people's thoughts. Hey, it's a curse.
Yeah.
It's not... The episode ends with it not being a good thing.
Yeah.
That's not good to hear. Keep it to yourself. I don't want it.
Yeah.
It's
true. And, but that's the thing, is just this idea that if you don't catch up, if you don't follow along, if you don't pay attention, You're going to feel like you're misinformed.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to feel like your opinions aren't going to be taken seriously, that you as a human being aren't going to be taken seriously. Oh, he's just out of, you're just out of loop. You don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to start feeling like, well, maybe my ideas, maybe this is wrong. Maybe this is right. I don't know. Because and that was my fear. But what I realized was that all I was doing was just making myself more angry, and I was just arguing with myself.
Yeah.
Because if someone, unless someone is deliberately going, challenging my ideas and is open to a debate.
Right.
They're open to a debate. They want to hear my opinion. They want to question it. They want to do. That's great. That happens never.
Yeah, that's never happened in the
It
history
never
of time.
happens.
Yeah.
It never happens. Yeah. So if someone who comes off and says some remark like, yeah, blah, 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 something that you disagree with, my natural instinct is like, well, I don't want to be a jerk. I'm just going to be polite. So I'm just going to eye roll and move on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to actually go to them and be like, well, no, this and this and this. Because then they're going to go this, this, and this.
A lot of people.
So I never even do it. I never even argue with anybody,
But it's all you think about.
But it's all I think about. All I think about is those moments.
And people might hear that and they'll go, well, no, I'm out there. I'm fighting the good fight. If I hear something I disagree with, people need to be educated. Okay, I agree. But like you said, it's happened 0% of the time where someone who already has their opinion, especially where things are at now, are going to change their mind.
Yeah.
Like you said, I feel like they have to come to you open, or someone you trust.
Yeah.
And you guys say this is this and that, and it's a discussion, which doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you think you're fighting the good fight. You're just going to argue to make yourself feel like you said something.
The only thing I can think of is if there's a chance where someone is like, so, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And I think you have some people, if you're in good friendships with some people, they will do that. I've had some text people, hey, so what do you think about this thing? I'm just kind of curious. I don't really know what to think of it, just kind of get some opinions.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen enough to where I need to constantly be watching the news.
Yeah.
And the news could be television, articles, whatever. And that's the other thing too, is they want you to keep watching. They want you to keep engaging in that content. So that way they can sell you ads.
Yeah.
It's not a negative thing. It's just they're a business too. And they want to keep you interested. They want to keep you watching more. I think the problem with us, I think it's more of a customer thing, because we favor looking at this stuff where it's like, oh, who's the bad guy today? Mm-hmm. And why should I be mad at the bad guy today?
I think that's a big thing too, is it paints it. People think life is a Disney movie and there's a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Honestly, either side you're on, you think there's a bad guy. Everyone, Alan Watts said this, everyone on every side of every war in history, thought they were on the right side.
Yeah.
No one thinks there. Who do you think is out there? Cruella de Vil? No one goes, all right, we're the bad guys. And everyone's like, correct. And then they all go fight. It's never happened ever.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're right.
You're not going to put your life at risk and kill yourself and murder other people because you think I'm wrong.
No.
No one does that.
Everyone thinks they're right and good.
Yes.
Even.
So that way they can justify attacking another human being,
Right.
whether it's ideas or it's the physical actual war.
It's a physical, it's argument, doesn't matter. Everyone thinks they're on the right side. So I think people should keep that in mind. If you're going to keep up debating and keeping informed, people should keep that in mind when they're out in public or on social media, that you're not arguing with a bad guy. Argue. That's fine. That's good. Communication is really good. But you're arguing with someone who also thinks they're right. And you both people on this discussion need to keep that in mind so you don't end the argument with hating someone that you hardly know.
Yeah.
Because chances are you
I
both
see what
want
you
the
mean.
same end result. It's like, but which way do we take to get there?
Yeah.
Don't you think that's probably true?
Oh, no, absolutely. And I think that's the issue. Is because, like politics in general is just, it's supposed to be solutions to a problem. Mm-hmm. We all want the problem fixed.
Right.
The thing is that which solution do we think is going to work? Mm-hmm. And so people are fighting and they're getting so mad at the solution. But if you understand, hey, you and I have different solutions to the problem, but we both want the problem fixed.
Right.
Now all of a sudden it's a different conversation.
It should be a team of problems.
And now it's like hey, listen, I understand what you're saying, but I really don't think that solution is going to work because X, Y, and Z. And you could be like, well, okay, that makes sense, but maybe Y and Z don't work. Maybe X works, but I don't know if Y and Z can work. So how can we figure out? And then you work together. That's what it's supposed to be. When you think of, even when you think of a lot of times when you think of arguments, people think of like two people yelling at each other.
Yeah.
The argument is supposed to be, like, at least from the classical definitions of an argument is like, hey, here's my ideas, here's what I present, and then this guy goes, here's my ideas, here's what I present, and then you guys can say, okay, this is what I like about your ideas, this is what I don't like. You have this point's true, but you didn't think about X, Y, and Z, and then you come together, and then you both have now a new, better solution. Maybe it's not the perfect solution, but it's just better than where you guys came in. Now it's like, instead of coming together, it's this. These are my ideas, and then you just go further and further apart because you get in lockstep with those ideas.
Yeah.
And I know, especially for me, with my kind of personality, I'm very much like that. So for me, I'm like, listen, that I'm not helping anybody. I'm not helping myself if I do that. So I need to take a break on that. And my firm belief is that if you believe what you believe, then you should live it out in your own life. And if somebody goes, hey, it seems to be working for you, what's your, then they'll ask you, what are you doing that's working?
Yeah.
Well, this works for me, blah, 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 blah. Great. And then it's better than just spending your whole time being like, all right, if they ask me this question, I'm going to give them this. And if they say this, they're going to be in a
listening to respond.
Vince destroys this thought on YouTube. Vince owns this argument. I'm waiting for that moment.
How much toxicity is that title? It's just the worst.
I've had some instances too where, like, I would see, like, some of those videos, they're like, oh, well, he's making a good point, he makes a good argument, and I want to share it with somebody, be like, yeah, so this is an argument that I agree with, but the title, I can't.
I've done that for things not even political, just in general. That's a relatable premise of, I can't share this thing that I like. Watch the video. Don't read the title of the video. I don't know who did that.
Because the title is so bad. It's like, destroys, completely annihilates, murders this person. I'm like, all he's talking about is
gardening. he's like, and then you're gonna want to water. You want to cook the steak on high. You want to sear the juices, and then it's just like, it's like
destroys vegans, and you're like, no, I'm just showing you why I like to make the steak.
This has nothing to do with vegans.
I just don't like that title because it's such a clickbait title. Because the people that are looking for, like, blank destroys whatever, they're looking for that, like, haha, I need some more tools in my belt to use against people, and I need to show how dumb the other side is. There's actually something really funny I got on my phone
while you're looking that up, so I don't forget. In addition to that, they're looking, people who look up that title, those clickbait, they are just looking for things to agree with them, right? Here, show the video. Whatever.
No, it's not a video. It's not a video. Oh. No, it's. I was gonna send it to you guys in the group chat. It says, remember, kids, you must always judge your side by its best members, but the other side must always be judged by its worst, stupidest members. How else are we going to dehumanize our intellectual opponents and further deepen the divide?
And that's supposed to be a meme.
Oh no, that's definitely a meme. But it's so
like funny.
But
it's true.
It is true though.
Yeah, because that's what we're gonna take the worst from that side, but hey, the best from ours. All right, you have to take the best from both. Yeah, best of both worlds. But okay, back with the clickbait. The people who are looking for the destroys, they have their opinion. They're just spreading they want to go to Billboard, www.imright.com, and then just read. And I think that's an issue with the algorithm of the internet. Of it sees what you like, and it slowly creates a bubble that you get to live in. I'll give you an example that I told you yesterday. Is I like a lot of talks which end up leading to philosophy, which end up leading into conspiracy theories. Naturally, it's the progression. I don't start with conspiracy theories. Not a fan. Yeah, sometimes it's entertaining. So I watched one video on YouTube of the simulation theory. I just watched The Matrix. Yeah, and I go, whew. All right. I go to YouTube the next day, and then it goes into just my homepage of YouTube. 2 suggested videos on simulation theory. Watched both of them. Now, I can't go on YouTube without YouTube suggesting every simulation theory possible. Guess what? Now that's my opinion.
Yeah.
That's what I think now.
Now it's me.
I am.
They incepted it into my brain.
Nothing's real. The Matrix was a documentary. That's my opinion.
Dude, it is bad because the worst part is you start to think the more you do that, you start to think that that's what everyone else sees.
Yeah.
Especially like on YouTube, because they'll show, like, when you first go on YouTube, it'll show you all the videos that they think you'll like, and then you can see trending. And the trending is always ridiculous because they'll have like 1,000 views, but it's like, Billy eats peanut butter with his face, and you're like, what? No one's watching that. But then I look at this and I'm like, oh, so, but then you watch all these videos do all this stuff, and then you're like, how can anyone think like that?
Oh, no.
Didn't they watch all the owns and destroys videos? And it's bad, but it's true and part of it too is the targeting, because they go, oh, like, if you like this, then we'll give you more stuff that you like.
Right.
But even if you like just one thing,
yeah,
they're gonna just keep giving it to you until you start liking other stuff. Oh, well, maybe you'll like this, maybe you like this. It's kind of like like Netflix and Spotify and like a lot of these sites. They go, oh, well, if you like this, then
you might also enjoy this. Like, it's part of that algorithm, and it's a good thing. But at the same time,
and it is a good thing, and it's also a good thing too, because one thing I love about advertising nowadays is it does target you, and people get all worried about the targeting, but now I'm not getting sent stuff for, like, I'm not getting sent tampon commercials. I'm not getting sent baby stuff. I'm not getting sent, whatever, things that I can't use or do. I'm getting sent stuff that I actually would be like, oh, that would actually be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I should buy that. And it's like, oh, it's taking more of your money. It's like, yeah, but at least I'm buying things that I like. I hated you watch TV and it was just like, we think people are watching this, and this. So we're just going to send you just a bunch of stuff. It's like, listen, I don't need a knife that can cut a penny. I'm 12. Okay?
Man, how aesthetically pleasing was that commercial?
It was amazing. But, it's like I don't need that. But now, you go on and they're like, hey, you like really weird mugs. Here's an ad for really weird mugs. And then I end up clicking on it because I'm like, oh, this is something I like.
Yeah.
Let's look at the weird mugs. It's doing what it's supposed to do. However, it keeps you in that, if you start looking at whatever political stuff, controversial stuff, that's one of the things I think is furthering the divide, is because you get stuck in this bubble to where you can't even imagine how people can look.
Your reality, what?
You think like the orcs think?
The orcs? They think it's Lord of the Rings.
It's Lord of the Rings.
The orcs and Legolas.
Yeah.
I'm nice and I have pointy ears and I'm good with the bow and arrow. The good side.
The deer come to me and they eat off my hand. You destroy everything and burn things to the ground, and you have a scary face. They kill the innocent. Mm-hmm. They destroy evil.
Orc destroys Legolas. Okay, real quick. So at work, on the getting suggestions based on what you like, my coworker comes up to me with no warning. She goes, I think I'm starting to think like I got random ads, and I don't even remember searching for it. She goes, I'm gonna test something. She goes like this. She puts her phone like here. She goes, hey, Richie. And I go, yes. And she goes, I think I want to go to Jamaica soon. She's like, okay, now let's wait and see if I get ads for Jamaica. As if the phone can hear the yelling but can't hear the whispering.
Let's get low key.
This is ASMR Jamaica trip.
Siri has the ears of a eagle. Do eagles have good ears? I don't know. I think owls, whoever, bats. Sonic hearing. I heard that there is something like that. Like if you talk, the ads start popping up. It's weird for me, for my phone, because every Sunday I go and I visit my parents. And I don't have it on a calendar. I don't have it. I just visit. And sure enough, on Sunday, it'll be like, you got 20 minutes until you get to this address. Yeah. And I'm like, that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I got to know how to get there. I can't use a map.
I'm not going to go to my parents' house.
I'm not going to remember DeQuinder. Can't remember roads.
Well, here's another thing, too, is on the argument side, or when arguing with people, let me throw this at you, because this is the problem I have. Or maybe it's just a general truth is, so we're talking about a good thing of people being more civil and actually discussing, trying to remember that we all want the same end result, probably, right?
Yeah.
We all want the same end result. It's usually just our paths to get there, right?
Yeah.
Then comes the problem of I'm sure some people are listening to this and they've probably been in that argument. I'm sure we have, of you're arguing with somebody or you're just discussing someone and in your head, waste of time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not necessarily because they're just not listening, but I think a lot of times the waste of time, at least when I get in my head, is because we're not starting with the same premise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we can't agree on if we can't agree on the base, and I'll give you an example. If we can't agree on the base, how are we going to argue on the higher level things? The flu shot.
Yeah.
If you don't value science, truly, I can't give you a good argument to get the flu shot.
Yeah.
By the way, get the flu shot. Oh my God. But
Yeah.
but that's a very real argument. If you don't value science, then I have no real thing to say to you that will resonate, because that's where all of my points and suggestions come from, is agreeing that science is the constant. Because we'll just keep going back to this, and it doesn't matter, because if we don't meet here, it's impossible to meet here.
Yeah.
So we have to meet at the base first. I think that's the thing people need to recognize is you guys aren't agreeing on the base. Mm-hmm. And you need to get a base that you can both agree on.
Here's the problem I have too. Is so if let's say I get in a argument, I get argument, debate, whatever words make you feel better. If it was an argument and I said Ritchie smells,
right,
and you were like, no, Ritchie doesn't smell, he's clean. I could find articles, videos, everything,
videos of me not washing my hands,
proving that you smell. You would then find other articles proving that you don't smell.
Washing my hands, saying the full alphabet.
Yes. Which one's true? Which one? Which one do you believe? Well, this one is the truth. Mm-hmm. This one, these people are lies. Well, who told you that? Well, this article told me that.
Right.
Well, yeah, of course they're not gonna. No article, no news source is ever gonna be like, we only lie, unless you're like the Inquirer or something. Like they're never gonna be like, we
only lie.
We only lie to you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, is that a lie or is that the truth? I don't know.
Right.
So that was another frustrating thing, because I was like, even if I'm a scholar of political discourse and I'm looking through all this stuff, the stuff I find, you can find the exact opposite, because there's people that are like, okay, this team is saying that Ritchie doesn't smell. We need to say that Ritchie does smell. And then guess what? The people who think Ritchie smells, they're going to be targeted, and they're going to say, hey, we're going to give you advertisements. We're going to pay you. The people who think that Ritchie's clean, they're going to send, article. That's the problem. It's our bubbles are so messed up to where it's like we can't even find the premise, I guess, or even the source that we can all agree of, like, okay, this source is a good source.
Yeah.
This source is a source that we can trust.
I mean, even with health, I'm going to go back to that example of and it's so much harder for things that aren't health related, and I'll explain why.
Yeah.
Is like, so for health, let's say it's coffee is healthy. My mom always talks about, she goes, another news article. First it says red wine and coffee, my two favorite things, are healthy. Next one kills me. I don't know what to believe every other week, because they know.
Yeah.
So we'll use that. Coffee is healthy. And so I could easily say, okay, how do we pick a constant source that's reliable? Scientific studies, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. So you get there, it's a scientific study, it's peer reviewed. Great. But then even with that, where you can say it's good and peer reviewed and there's only PhDs handling it and discussing with each other, then even at the end of the article, it says, we found that there was a 50% higher chance that you'll live longer if you drink black coffee. But, and then if it's a good scientific study, you'll say, but it was a small sample size. We only did this study once. If we want to believe this, we want to be cautious. We need to repeat this study a couple times with different populations. So even when it's science, it then ends with a long list of buts to take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
So what are you supposed to do when it's just an article about unrelated to health? There's no kind of constant.
It's so true. And the other thing too, because then if you want to get a little more paranoid, you can be like, okay, well, who's funding this research?
And you can get into that. And
because
then,
some people that fund it they're going to want to get certain answers. If they don't get the answers they want, they stop the funding.
Yep.
You know, and I don't care what it is. Like, so there's that. And then there's, okay, well, what are these scientists, you know, how much control of the experiment do they have? How much do they have this tested? Do they think about these factors? You were saying once a while ago about how they thought that people who drank coffee had a higher chance of getting lung cancer or something. Pancreatic cancer. But then they found out that those people that drank coffee all smoke because they like to have a cigarette with their smoking.
They just forgot to control for smoking, so they thought coffee caused pancreatic cancer.
Because we forget too, even with science, we forget too that this isn't a divine being entity that is creating the science and giving us this information. It's humans.
Right.
So we do have our flaws. Now, the beauty of science is if you make an experiment and say, hey, coffee's bad, blah, 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 I can then make an experiment to see if you're right or wrong.
And that's the
point. The more you test it, the more it's proven.
Yeah. And that's why science, because then, so you say with funding, and that's a big thing, then you got to think of who's funding it. But ever since that became more popular, if you disagree with the study, no matter what, you're going to say, well, the Diabetes Association was funding it. Yeah, who else did you think was going to fund it?
Yeah. I mean, there's
a GoFundMe? No, it has to get funded. So then it becomes, if you disagree regardless, then you go, who funded it? And you go, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah. and it turns into a mess. And I think it's not, I'm not saying that all science is wrong. I'm not saying that.
But there is room regardless.
There's room for it.
Yeah.
And you can, how do I say this? It's hard to, therefore it's even harder to argue with people.
Yeah.
Because we don't have, like you said, that premise. Because even science can be flawed in certain areas, whatever. I mean, that's the other part that's hard too. And you have these, like I said, you have these groups, these news people that their job is to get as many views. They want to get as many people getting their content as possible. So they'll pick a thing that keeps people interested. Okay, people hate Ritchie. People love Ritchie.
The I Hate Ritchie fan club.
The Hate Ritchie fan club. The I Love Ritchie fan club. And they're only going to show you so much. And they're all going to say, well, no, we're the truth.
Right.
We're the thing that no one else is saying. They're all going to say that.
Scientists don't want you to know this about Ritchie.
Yes.
No.
Yes. So they're all going to do that. And whichever side, whatever you pick, you start diving into it and you're like, you know what? Yeah, Ritchie does smell. He's the smelliest of the smelliest. And then you're like, how can anyone think that Ritchie doesn't smell? And then you have someone that's like, Ritchie is the cleanest. He's cleaner than anything. No bacteria has ever went on him. We're actually concerned. That's how clean he is. Because there's good bacteria that you need. He doesn't even have that.
He doesn't even have that. Hand sanitizer, 99% free of bacteria. Ritchie, 100%.
Most people are mainly of water. He's made out of hand sanitizer. That's how clean he is.
It's just going through my veins.
It's just going through his veins.
I'm the Spider-Man of hand sanitizer.
Yes. He's like Mr. Hubberflube from Cat in the Hat. That's a stretch.
Jeez.
With all the... Remember that? He had all
No, I don't.
He had hand sanitizer attached to his belt. So, and every time...
Is this the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat?
Yeah.
Oh.
If anyone gave him like a handshake or whatever, he'd be like, fired. And he'd fire them and he'd wash his hands like crazy. That's how clean Ritchie is.
Yeah.
But, so it's so weird. And my thing is, like, for me, and I say for me, all it was doing was making me upset. It wasn't putting me forward in the world. It wasn't improving on me in the world. So I'm like, I'm just going to take a break from it. And my duty as an American citizen is I voted. So I voted. Okay. That's all I can really do.
You can write your senator?
I can write to my local senator. I could do that, but my Facebook post to my nearest 200 friends, that's not going to change anything.
Right. So I guess the point is you can stay informed. You don't have to become a doomsday prepper. You can stay informed while being separate from it.
Yeah.
This doesn't get into me.
You don't want to be...
ship lets water inside of it or else it'll sink.
Exactly. I think the reason why we're friends is because we love doing analogies. And I'm not saying even the cynical, like nothing matters.
Right.
I'm not saying like, everything's wrong, so how can we know? You can still figure out ways. It's just, you just have to know, you just have to keep everything in mind. If someone tells you something, I don't care what it's from, figure out the sources, figure out that. And if you don't want to dive into that, then go learn a hobby, go learn a craft, go improve on yourself.
Right.
Do that. And then, then you can make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
You start from you, and then you can branch out to your family, branch out to the community. If everybody did that, that would be even better. But if you spend all your time figuring out ways to get mad at other people, because that's really what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're just like, how do I get mad? Because once you're informed and you vote, then you're done.
Right.
That's it.
You can be done.
You did the job. You did what you're supposed to do. Now you have to move on. And I remember, because I did it for like a couple years now, where I'd get to the point I was like, man, I can't wait till it gets back to normal.
Remember when there used to be a time it was like it was like spring and fall, there was also tense and normal.
Yes.
Always tense now.
Yeah, it's always tense. But then I realized it was most likely always like this, even though everyone will be like, no, it's different, blah, blah, blah. It's just we're now choosing to give into this, and we're choosing to constantly like and follow these things, which in turn the algorithm is going, okay, well, here's more. You want it, we're just gonna give it to you. Why would we not give you things that you want? Like,
right.
That's our job.
That's
so
be true.
Yes. So we're digging into that. And back, maybe a while ago, parents they just whatever was on TV, they formed their opinion. They talked to their crazy uncle once, and they were like, maybe I agree with them, maybe I don't, and that was it. And they moved on. And it's like, that's our point. We're at a point now where we can live normal lives. We can do that. Because I remember like when I was first like, stopping and pausing or whatever, and I look around the world, and I'm like, oh, the world hasn't burned in flames yet.
Yeah.
But I was so told that everything was going to burn to the ground because the bad guys or girls were destroying everything. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'm trying to keep as neutral sounding as possible because you don't need to know what I believe. But, that was something I was like, oh, well, I guess I can like work on the podcast. I can work on the show.
Yeah.
I can work on my comedy. I can work on video production or whatever I like. I can go back duck hunting now.
Yeah.
I can do whatever, and improve myself rather than spending all my free time just, all right, what am I getting mad at today?
Earth is pretty great.
There's a lot of things you can do.
There's a lot of things you can do. It's a pretty happy place. And then people be like, well, then they'll send me 200 articles. What about this? Yeah, I know there's awful things happening in the world, but things can be beautiful. You don't have to, you don't have to hook on to everything. Even though I knew that, and it was, obviously I'm sure it's a cliche, but just the way you said it or just putting it together it was probably always like this. It was probably always as tense when these specific topics came up 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. But it's just people are refusing to allow themselves to get space from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why PSA, meditation could not be more important right now, is just forcing yourself to not, if you don't want to delete social media, you think you have self-control to do whatever, keep separate from it, that's great. But meditate, go for a walk on purpose.
Yeah.
Exercise.
Do something. And it's not
do something.
Yeah. Well, because you're not really doing anything. You think you're doing something. Your brain is telling you you're doing something because you're having an emotional response. And it's not an ignorance is bliss situation where you're like, oh, just forget about all that and just do it. No. What we're saying is that I got to the point where I realized that I wasn't even being informed. I was just being angry and I wasn't moving anywhere.
You were shaking your own hand. Good work.
I was shaking my own hand. I was fighting my mental battles.
Yeah.
When I could be learning, something. I could be improving. I could be going out and actually helping. I could be practicing what I preach.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. And I think meditation, exercise, all that stuff, I think that starts to get you forward because you're moving forward. You're starting to put everything into place of like, okay, maybe there's things in the world that are bad and horrible and I wouldn't want to do them, but I can't control those things. So what can I control here? How can I make my little space better?
Yeah.
How can I keep my room clean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How can I
keep my room clean? Start small.
How can I keep my room clean?
Yeah.
How can I improve on this? what are some things that I keep telling myself, I'll do that later. I'll do that later. What if I did those things today? What if I got that done today? So I started doing that, and I'm not the best at it, but I noticed that I had a much better sense of peace. I was at a point, Richie, where I would sit and listen to somebody and mentally make a checklist of like, okay, what do they think? All right, check. Okay, they believe in that. That's good. Check. Oh, no. See, they don't 100% agree with me on there. There's a problem. And I start getting angry at people.
Checklist.
I have a mental, I figured I had a mental checklist where I'm like, okay, all right, they agree with that. Good. They agree with that. Good. They're off there though. So now I don't like them.
Yeah.
And like, you can't do that. You can't expect people, if everyone thought the same way you did, guess what? You're in a cult.
Yeah. Hooray!
That's not good.
That's bad.
That's bad.
Yeah. Y'all drank the Kool-Aid.
You drank the Kool-Aid. You don't want to do that.
No.
You want to realize like, okay, yeah, he's thinking differently. If anything, you want to figure out, well, why does he think that way?
Yeah.
Or why does she think that way? Where is he or she coming from?
Yeah.
How can I meet them in the middle? But other than that, I'm telling you, I would have these like, okay, I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, they believe in that. Okay, good, good. Oh, no, not that though.
Are you ready for more Alan Watts?
Yes.
So I
give you Jordan Peterson, you give me Alan Watts. It's a great day.
He has another thing, same thing of, he was talking about, he goes, yeah, they brought in a group of philosophers and they said we're getting closer to where we can basically design people. You know, we can manipulate the genes a little bit. They go, what kind of people should we have? Your philosophers, we should have. And Alan Watts is like, how are we supposedly imperfect humans supposed to give you an opinion on what a perfect human is? He goes, how do you know what's good for other people? How do you even know what's good for yourself?
Yeah.
And then he says, what I told them was, please don't just narrow us down to a couple of nice people. He goes, I could totally imagine a pestiferous group of saints. Just nothing is good in bulk.
Yeah.
Give it as yogis. Nothing is good. A cockroach, perfectly fine by itself. You get 100 cockroaches,
you got problems.
The plague. Yay.
Yeah. The mice. Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? It's a great answer. But I just kept thinking, I was like, this philosopher is probably gonna think of an easy way out of this. Like, I can't do this job.
Right.
What are you doing?
That's
what, you want me to do work?
He's like he's like, I'm not going to be deep today. I'm just going to get out of this. Like it's jury duty. He's like, I can judge anyone just by looking at them if they're guilty or innocent. They're like, all right, you're free to go.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just getting out of this. But no, but it's so true. And with the idea of, you have to understand, like, you're not perfect as well. And your goal shouldn't be just do what makes you happy, because odds are you really don't know what makes you happy. Mm-hmm. Instead, you want to do something that's meaningful, something that's worth suffering over, because life in a way is suffering. So you have to figure out, okay, well, what is worth suffering? Like, you get up early to work, like, I got to work. I'm tired. I don't really feel like working today. But you get up and do it because you want to do something greater. You have your house, or you have, you pay for this, or you have something you got to do. You got to get this done. So that way you do that thing, and then you come home at night and you have a good night's sleep, because you're like, okay, I completed what I needed to do today. I had my purpose, my meaning.
Yeah. Something worth suffering over. Beautiful.
Something worth suffering over, something with meaning. Because a lot of times when we think of what makes us happy, it's very short term. We talked about before with the work and play. Mm-hmm. What makes me happy is sitting on the couch and eating cake all day.
Really?
That makes me happy. And then that person, and then the other guy's like, well, working out in the gym, that really doesn't make me happy. It's very uncomfortable. I'm tired. I'm sweating. I look like a mess. I feel embarrassed around everyone else. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see what these two people end up doing. The guy who's in the hospital now and is dying, and he's in a ton of pain, and he's only like 40. You think that guy's happy? Then you see the guy who's fit. He's got kids now. He's teaching he's playing sports with his kids. He's doing all this great stuff. Who's ultimately happier? Yeah. You have to have that. You have to find meaning in what is worth suffering over, and there always is something. So don't think there's nothing. There's always something to live for.
Yeah. Find what you love and let it kill you.
Find what you love. Let it kill you, Bukowski. And that's part of it too. And just finding that, finding that out and being productive. You're gonna feel a lot better. At least I was feeling a lot better. And you're going to actually be making a real difference. That's the bad thing. It's more than just feeling good. You're actually doing something. You're actually helping yourself. You know, you should help yourself before you help other people.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. You know, we're so used to being like, these are the rules of the land. And these is if everyone did this, perfect life.
Yeah.
Great. Are you doing it? Well, I don't got time. I got to
gotta-
tell all
you're
these
going.
other people.
I'm the messenger.
I'm messenger.
The Facebook messenger.
The Facebook messenger. The Instagram messenger. The Twitter.
Hey, aren't we talking about saving humanity here? Stop typing it.
Yes.
Unless it's into a typewriter and you're Ben Franklin.
There's little times in my life. There's actually many times in my life where I go, is this something an adult would do 20 years ago? Even if they had the technology?
Right.
No. I don't think so.
No.
So that tells you something.
Yeah.
That's like maybe if we're gonna be adults, maybe we shouldn't do that. Like there's things that we did when we were kids that were cool and fun, and then you get older and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be doing
Everyone
that.
should just kind of forget
Meanwhile, I just bought Let's Go Pikachu, and boy howdy. I even got the little Pokeball because they said it was gonna come with Mew, and
How good does that? I'm sorry, more Pikachu related things. The Detective Pikachu look. Have you seen a trailer for that?
It does, but my thing is like, out of all the Pokemon games, you picked Detective Pikachu.
Was that really a game?
That was a game on 3DS.
Why can't they just do a real world?
And the voice sounds like Danny DeVito.
Isn't
Like
it
he
Ryan-
doesn't.
it's Ryan Reynolds.
It's Ryan Reynolds for this one, but I'm saying like the other one. He's like, all right, guys, we got to stop this crime,
Stop
and it's
it.
a Pikachu. It's a Pikachu.
He's smoking a fat cigar.
It was insane, and I'm like, and I don't know. It must have did decently well, but I didn't play it, and I have almost every single Pokemon version from like Red because I'm a weirdo. Once again, should an adult do that? No. So I have some things I got to work on.
Right.
Meanwhile, Let's Go Pikachu isn't that bad. It's not horrible. It's not. It's. I don't know if it's amazing. I haven't played enough in it. We work on the comedy show.
Right. It's been taking up more of my time.
I collect pops.
I'm an adult.
I'm an adult. Dang it.
I brought my acoustic guitar home for my parents, and I bought a capo and picks, and I started playing.
Yeah.
It's been a week, but it's great. Just thought that's my update. I started playing guitar.
Started playing guitar
I
again.
can't wait to start ruining bonfires. It's gonna be great.
Richie and I, we first bonded over guitars. I invited Youre to my house to play guitar.
Right.
We played for 5 seconds. Realized that we don't really know how to play together because we don't really know.
We're good by ourselves.
We're good by ourselves.
How about
We
I go,
can-
you go, back and forth like
We
that?
can play covers, but we didn't understand how to play in key. Therefore, we couldn't jam. We had the electric tuners, all that stuff. So then we made a comedy video, and that was actually 10 years ago in September.
Really?
10 years ago in September.
We did
I
talk
looked
about
it up.
that.
Yeah,
Oh
we did
my
talk about it.
God.
10 years ago.
One
'Cause I
decade
found
ago.
the file, and it was like date created, and it was like September 8th, 2008. And I was like,
Gross.
what?
The
10
land
years
before
ago.
time. I'm slowly realizing, like what we were talking about earlier with voting and everything, be like, you did your part. If you want to see it, make your change. I was going to say, to quote every single person's caption on Instagram with their I voted sticker is, be the change you want to see in the world.
Woo.
Man, deep, you know?
It's
Especially
so-
when all 300 of you did it. That
Yeah.
was great.
It was so
Even though this
great.
is what this entire podcast is about.
It really is. That's the problem.
Just be the change you want to see in the
The
world.
problem with cliches
They're true.
is that they're true, yeah. And people take, oh, that's the cliche because they hear it so many times, but they don't really know how true it is. That's why it keeps being said over and over again.
Until you get it.
No one's ever like, gravity ain't real. That's a cliche. No. What goes up must go down. Cliche.
Oh.
Because it's true.
Right.
And we see it and we go, well, how do we explain this in words and in a sentence?
The
And they go like
dichotomy
this.
of life.
And then you hear it 50 times and you go, well, that's a cliche. So then all of a sudden you'd be like, nah, that's dumb. Well, it's still true though. It's
You know
still
what they
right.
always say? The moon is hollow. Ah!
Is it? I don't know.
That's another conspiracy theory. That the
snap.
moon is hollow and it was put there.
Ooh. When was it put there?
Oh God, I don't know. Listen, I watched only 15 videos
How
about
many
the same
was
theory.
this from the Truman Show? Is that what it is? It's hollow, but there's a TV crew inside.
Yes. So they're monitoring us, and that's what is it? They're monitoring us. They're controlling, obviously, because the moon with the waves, so we can control that. biggest moon, quarter of the size of the
Because
Earth.
the one thing we want to control are surfers.
Right, apparently we have control over the surfers. It's going to be a swoon and
Kelly Slater's gonna win this time. It's rigged. I feel bad for the girl that got bit by a shark. Let's give her a little extra waves. They crank it up. Give her some
one
more
of the
waves.
things, the video was ridiculous. It's a ridiculous video talking about a hollow moon. It was like, and look at the craters. They're big. And I go, compared to what? How many moons are you looking at?
Yeah,
they're like, they're all the same size. Did you measure them?
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous, space theories, because the people talking about them haven't even left like their town,
Yeah.
let alone the Earth.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm going to argue with this guy who's literally an alien and lives on the moon about how the moon is made out of Rice Krispie treats.
Here's the thing. I love the conspiracy theories, but I don't love them in that it's like, oh, maybe.
No.
I just think they're hilarious.
It's television.
'Cause it's television. It's like a new story. Like,
It's a story.
Like you almost want to believe. You want to believe it in a way that you're like when you watch a movie and you're fully ingrained, and you don't want to be pulled out of that experience.
Right.
You want to feel like you're part of the experience. That's why I feel like with conspiracy theories. Like I know it's fake, but I want to feel like I'm part of it, and I'm watching. Like, oh yeah, the Rice Krispie treats.
It does
You
make
ever look
sense.
at a Rice Krispie treat? It looks a lot like the moon.
Like the moon. I don't know.
Sometimes I see a face on it. Just saying. Just saying. And you're just like, yeah.
I did watch. There's a video. It's an hour long on YouTube. Yeah, and it's like something about the history of the world, and it's a completely different history. The pyramids are
Nice.
mentioned, things like that, and it combines real things. It connects the dots. It's obscene.
It sounds amazing.
It is a great story, and I watched it for a good story. But the person who made it says this is real.
Well, they can't lie.
This is
to you.
a TED Talk.
Yes. Oh man.
It's great.
How do they find? When do the vampires come in? That's what I got.
Right.
When do the vampires start? When do they?
You know what's
end?
funny is I can't get into details, but it's a ridiculous story all the way through, and so they're saying it all like it's fact, but it's clearly a ridiculous story. And at one point, they have the audacity to say, "Now this one part right here, we don't have a lot of evidence for." As if
Just this part.
As if they did for the levitation part, 20,000 years ago when humans first started. And it's just something. It was like it was something. It's a lot about the pharaohs and how the people with the heads in they're aliens. And
Okay. Where do the aliens come from? They never explain. It's always like there's aliens that did everything. Okay, well, what about them? Like no one. They never go behind.
Actually, I
that.
do remember. So in that video, look how excited you are. So,
I'm pumped.
So there are people who are enlightened on Earth. I don't know, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago.
It's always got to be a long time ago.
Long time ago, enlightened, can't be touched, whatever. And then people who are not enlightened, who are just driven, only ego driven. That's what it is. Came from Mars. Seriously.
Yes.
They came over to Earth to take more stuff, and then the enlightened people and the ego driven people fighting it out.
Always good guy, bad guy.
Right, good guy, bad guy. And I think that's what humans are. Humans are the ego-driven people who some got enlightened, some did. It's ridiculous. And at one point in that video, they said, now, not the first part with what I just said about Mars. They said 20 minutes into the video, they said, no, this next part, we don't have a lot of evidence for.
We don't have a lot of evidence for it, but we don't know what flavor of Rice Krispie treats the moon is. We think it might be double chocolate chunk, but it's a little too dark for that, so it might be just the regular with the little M&Ms in it.
I keep remembering more things. How did they get to Earth from Mars? Spaceship? No, that would make sense. A triangle.
It's just a
triangle.
The triangle.
Triangle.
The Trinity. Okay.
Yep, triangle. They got there by a triangle. Triangle goes between dimensions.
Okay.
It talks about the Bermuda Triangle for a little bit. Talks about Atlantis.
You gotta after this, you gotta send me this link.
Yeah, I will.
Not you have to announce it right now, but you do have to send me this because here's the thing. I love a good story. It's why I do what I do. It's why we do what we do. I love a good story. So anything that gets super crazy in that, I don't know. I can't tell you how many like Star Wars wiki things I've looked up, or Game of Thrones, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I look up all these like random little bits that either are not part of the show or the movie where you look through all this stuff. I just love a good story.
Right.
And I love it. Okay, so how do we explain this? And then it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And I go, oh man. And then I waste my afternoon instead of doing something productive. See, instead of politics, let's get into
Waste your time on conspiracy
Waste your time
theories.
on conspiracy theories, everybody.
That way no one will actually talk to you. You
No
won't have
one-
to argue with anybody.
Yes, you don't have to worry. You can't be mad at people who aren't friends with you. Right?
You can't
I
be mad at
think.
anyone when you don't have anyone around.
Yeah, when
you.
you're alone because everyone's away from you, it's perfect. Just be like, guys, listen, the Lizard King told me. And everyone be like, oh, and then they walk away. You don't got to worry.
Oh,
You don't got to worry about what their thoughts are
They
on this or
fast
that.
walk away. Oh,
It's okay.
honey, don't make eye contact.
It's beautiful. I love it. But yeah, so that's been kind of good. And the reason, and one of the reasons why I bring it up too is because Ritchie, good old Ritchie,
I love Richie.
Richie's been in a group chat with me, and he, you know, his thing is simple. Between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., he's a chatty Cathy. He's just a chatty Cathy. He's good. But if you say something that's a little bit of a debate, anything, ghost it. God.
At once that starts, the text has to start with Richie, comma, so I know. Oh, I should probably look at this one.
Yeah. He didn't see. My first internship, they had a rule. They said if you don't respond with an email within 24 hours, you get fired because there's no excuse. So texts, calls, emails. I try to. I don't always do it, but I have that in my brain. I gotta respond. Mm-hmm. Richie don't have that. Richie's like, if I don't want to talk, I'm just gonna pretend that I'm gone, and I'm just not gonna respond.
I'm at the carnival. Can't talk.
It pissed me off, and it used to piss me off even more. But then I started taking a chapter from him. I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't engage in negative things. Maybe I shouldn't engage in things like this because of what we've been talking about this whole podcast, and it's been working great. So, thanks for being a terrible friend.
Thanks for talking to me only when it's recorded.
Only when it's recorded. Thanks for talking to me only when it suits your needs and not the needs of others. I feel so enlightened.
That's the most enlightening thing I've ever done. If you want to know how close I am to Gandhi, I don't respond to texts.
Does Gandhi respond to texts? No.
You see,
He doesn't even have a phone.
I'm not going to engage in this
People
one.
text him. He just doesn't even. He just ignores it.
Gandhi, what are you doing? It's friends. Puts his phone in his back pocket.
And I think we're just gonna end there
Let's end it on
Richie.
not being a bad friend via text.
Perfect.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.